what if the moon, instead of just chilling up in the night sky, decided to come crashing down on us?
Yeah, a lunar faceplant.
That's a good one, a lunar faceplant.
Right.
We're actually going to deep dive into that very question today.
Yeah. Okay.
And it turns out the answer is way more interesting than just like a giant kaboom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you'd think, okay, moon hits Earth, everything explodes.
Makes sense.
The end.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not quite that simple.
No, it's not that simple. It's actually like this whole year-long saga of just increasingly wild events.
Right.
With the moon like slowly spiraling closer and closer.
Yeah.
So, thing we'd noticed before impact.
Oh, absolutely. The effects would be noticeable pretty much right away.
Okay.
And they would escalate very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that chaos,
Right.
I think we should talk about why the moon doesn't normally, just fall on our heads.
Right.
It all comes down to this balance between the moon's speed and Earth's gravity.
So it's not just like hanging up there.
No.
Like there's actual physics going on.
Exactly.
Right.
Imagine like if you throw a ball,
Yeah.
it doesn't just like plop straight down.
Right.
It follows this kind of curved path.
Yeah.
Because of its momentum, right?
Okay.
So the moon is kind of like that ball,
Yeah.
except it's going, super, super fast.
Yeah.
And it's being pulled by Earth's gravity. So that sideways motion combined with its speed keeps it in this this perpetual dance around us.
Okay.
It's a stable orbit where it's constantly like falling towards Earth, but also moving forward just enough to miss.
Oh, that's kind of trippy, huh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's like it's always falling, but never hitting.
Exactly.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Stopping the moon with like our current technology.
Yeah.
Let's just say it would take a lot more than a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I don't think we have the budget for that.
I don't think so.
So, for the sake of this this thought experiment,
Right.
we're suspending our disbelief,
Sure.
and we're just going to let the moon gradually drift closer over the course of a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so the moon's orbit's all messed up.
Right.
What's the first thing we Earthlings would experience? Like, I'm guessing it's not going to be subtle.
You guessed it. Remember those bulges we see in the ocean, the tides?
Yeah.
Well, those are actually caused by the moon's gravity pulling on the Earth.
Okay.
So as the moon gets closer, that gravitational pull, it gets stronger, leading to some seriously extreme tides.
Yep.
Okay, wait. So you're saying of like gentle ebbs and flows we see at the beach are gonna turn into like...
Think more like cities vanishing underwater.
Okay, whoa.
Yeah, coastal areas would be completely reshaped. So like shipping lanes, internet cables under the sea, all gone.
So much for 2-day shipping, huh?
Right.
It's not just the physical infrastructure that would be messed up though, right?
No, not at all.
Like people's lives would be turned upside down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Millions would be displaced.
Yeah.
And essential resources, like fresh water would become contaminated with salt water.
Yeah.
Coastal oil refineries would have to be abandoned,
Oh, wow.
which would lead to fuel shortages, right?
Yeah.
So it paints this picture of a world in chaos where scavenging for supplies at low tide
Right.
becomes the new normal.
Okay, so we've got mega tides causing havoc.
I have a feeling that's just the tip of the iceberg, though.
Yeah, you're right.
What else do we have in store for us as the moon keeps getting closer?
Well, remember all those satellites we use for like communication and GPS?
Yeah.
They're about to have a very bad day.
Oh, well, wait. So on top of everything else,
Yeah.
we're losing connection with the outside world? No more doom scrolling the apocalypse online.
It's even worse than that. Think about it. Global navigation systems going haywire.
Yeah.
Planes grounded, ships lost at sea. It's a recipe for even more disruption and panic.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
This is getting pretty intense.
Yeah,
We're only 3 months in,
I know.
and it already feels like the end of the world.
Right.
What happens next? Does it get even crazier?
Oh, yeah. We're just getting started.
Oh, boy.
So the tides actually reach their peak
Okay.
when the moon is still about 75,000 kilometers away, which is, almost 5 months into this whole thing.
Hold on. I thought the closer the moon gets, the bigger the tides.
Yeah.
Why would they peak when it's still that far away?
Well, that's because up until that point, the water in the oceans, it can move pretty freely. It can, flow around the Earth.
Yeah.
And it absorbs most of that pull from the moon.
Right.
But once the tides reach a certain height, the water, it just doesn't have anywhere else to go. It's kind of like, when you fill a bathtub all the way to the top,
Yeah.
and then you try to add like even a little bit more water.
Yeah, it spills over.
It spills over, right?
Right.
So in this case, though, it's not just water that's feeling the squeeze.
You're saying the Earth itself starts to...
Yeah, imagine the whole planet is like a giant stress ball, and the moon is this like massive hand slowly compressing it. It has like a tide of rock.
A tide of rock, okay.
Yeah, so all that water is sloshing around, plus, the moon's gravity getting stronger.
Right.
It puts a ton of pressure.
Okay. On the Earth's tectonic plates.
Okay, so the Earth is getting squeezed like a stress ball.
Right.
What does that actually mean for us down here on the surface?
Well, think earthquakes.
Oh.
And I'm not talking about, just little tremors.
Right.
We're talking potentially catastrophic quakes
Oh, wow.
that could like reshape continents. It's like if a kid kept jumping on a bed over and over,
Yeah.
eventually, something's got to give.
Right.
And it's not just earthquakes, by the way.
Right. Volcanoes.
Yeah, so all that squeezing,
Uh-huh.
it messes with those magma chambers underneath the
Yeah.
surface, so it would lead to eruptions
Okay.
on a scale we haven't seen, in millennia.
Yeah.
Chile, New Zealand,
Okay.
Yellowstone,
Mhm.
places that could trigger massive climate shifts.
So not only are we dealing with megatides and earthquakes,
But now we've got volcanoes spewing ash and lava everywhere.
pretty much.
Right. It's like the Earth itself is trying to fight back against this
Yeah.
lunar invasion.
It's a dramatic showdown, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
as the moon, keeps getting closer and closer, it
Yeah.
enters this zone
Okay.
where our geosynchronous satellites,
Yeah.
they used to orbit.
Right.
And at this point, about 6 or 7 months in, we'd see something truly bizarre.
Okay. Crazier than a volcanic apocalypse in all the years.
Yeah, imagine this. You look up and
Okay.
you see the moon just kind of frozen in the sky,
Okay.
visible to like only half the planet. And it cycles through all its phases like every single day.
Weird.
It's almost as if the tide itself is frozen too.
Wow.
With half the world, permanently flooded and the other half like a desert.
A frozen tide, huh?
Yeah.
That's terrifying and fascinating at the same time.
It is, yeah.
So we're safe from being flung into space. But what about the moon?
Yeah.
Is it just passively drifting closer?
No, it's not passive at all.
Okay.
As it gets closer, Earth's gravity actually starts to distort its shape.
Really?
Yeah, it pulls it into this like egg-like form. Imagine the stress on that lunar surface.
Yeah.
Moonquakes.
Moonquakes.
Yeah, happening as the moon's rock is like
Right.
stretched and deformed.
So it's not just chaos here, but on the moon too.
Right.
It's like this cosmic tug of war
Yeah, pretty
watching
much.
its climax.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, things go from bad to worse.
Okay.
Remember those volcanic eruptions we were talking about?
Yeah.
They're spewing out all this stuff, aerosols, that could actually block out the sun,
Okay.
which would cause a rapid global cooling. We're talking, acid rain, summer snows,
Oh.
a completely disrupted climate.
Okay, so we've got megatides, earthquakes, volcanoes,
Yeah.
a frozen tide, moonquakes, and now like a volcanic winter.
Right.
I am officially terrified.
Yeah. It's not looking good.
What else could even possibly happen at this point?
Well, there's one final act to this whole cosmic drama, and it all revolves around something called the Roche limit.
The Roche limit, what's that?
It's basically the point of no return.
Oh boy.
Imagine Earth's gravity is like this giant vacuum cleaner,
Okay.
and the moon is getting closer and closer to the nozzle.
Right.
At a certain distance, that pull from Earth's gravity becomes so strong
Yeah.
that it overpowers the moon's own gravity. The moon just can't hold itself together anymore.
Wait, you're telling me the moon just breaks apart?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
It disintegrates into this massive ring of debris encircling the Earth like a cosmic graveyard.
That's
Yeah.
that's a pretty spectacular end for the moon.
It is, yeah.
But I guess it also marks a turning point
Yeah.
in this whole apocalyptic scenario.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the immediate threat is gone,
Right.
but the aftermath, well, that's
Yeah.
something we should talk about.
Right, because without the moon, all those crazy tides, the earthquakes, the volcanoes,
Yeah, that all stop.
it's like the calm after the storm.
Yeah, you could say that.
But I'm guessing things wouldn't exactly go back to normal.
I know, definitely not. Imagine the Earth,
Yeah.
scarred and reshaped
Right.
by this cataclysmic event.
Yeah.
Oceans receding,
Yeah.
landscapes altered, and the
Ah.
sky dominated by this shimmering ring of moon dust.
That's both beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, a world without our moon,
Yeah,
replaced with this ring of debris.
right.
It's like something out of a movie.
It is pretty wild.
But even after all that destruction,
Mm-hmm.
like a new beginning,
Right.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's what's so fascinating about this scenario.
Right.
It makes us think about how resilient life can be.
Mm.
Even after a global catastrophe, some life would probably find a way to survive.
Yeah.
Like imagine those creatures, deep in the ocean or hidden away in caves. They
Yeah.
might come out into this new world
Yeah.
and find, a totally different landscape
Right.
and a chance to thrive.
It makes you wonder if humans could adapt to a world like that.
Yeah.
What would happen to our cities, our technology, like our whole way of life?
Well, it would be a huge challenge, obviously.
Yeah.
But humans are, incredibly adaptable. We've
Uh-huh.
overcome so much throughout history. We'd have
Yeah.
to learn new ways to navigate, to communicate, to find resources.
Hmm.
Maybe those underwater cities
Yeah.
would become like underwater havens,
Right.
Or maybe we would just focus on building sustainable communities in those new landscapes.
Yeah, it's a pretty daunting thought.
It is,
But also kind of hopeful in a weird way.
yeah, for sure.
Even facing like total annihilation, there's still this spark of human ingenuity
right.
that could start a whole new chapter for us.
I agree.
But wouldn't all that like moon dust floating around cause problems?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, it'd be like a constant meteor shower, right? Heating up the atmosphere, or maybe even blocking out the sun.
You're right to think about those long-term consequences.
Okay.
The atmosphere could heat up from the friction of all that dust.
Right.
Or it could even have a cooling effect if the rings block too much sunlight.
Hmm.
It's a delicate balance.
So even after the moon is gone, we're not out of the woods yet.
No, exactly.
It really makes you think about how connected everything is on our planet,
Absolutely.
and how much we rely on that balance
It is a delicate balance.
for our survival.
That's for sure.
Well, this deep dive has been it's been a wild ride.
It has, yeah.
We've gone from talking about orbits to global flooding,
Right.
earthquakes, volcanoes, moon turning to dust.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
I gotta admit, it's left me feeling a little awestruck.
I get that.
The power of nature.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a humbling experience
Right.
to really think about the vastness of the universe and the forces that are at play.
Yeah.
But even amidst all the destruction and the chaos, there's also
Yeah.
this sense of wonder,
Right.
Just imagine looking up at the night sky
Yeah.
and seeing those shimmering rings of moon dust.
Right.
It'd be a constant reminder of, the event that reshaped our world,
Right.
but also a testament to the beauty of the cosmos.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this. What would you do to prepare for an event like this?
Yeah.
Even though we know it's, hypothetical.
Right.
What skills would you want to learn?
Yeah, what resources would you prioritize?
Right. How would you find meaning and purpose
Mm.
in a world so different from our own?
And beyond all the, the practical stuff about survival,
Right.
we encourage you to think about the bigger picture.
Mm.
How has this deep dive changed how you see our place in the universe?
Yeah.
Does it make you appreciate the fragility of our planet?
Right.
Or maybe marvel at the resilience of life itself?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this journey to the end of the world
Right.
and back.
It's been fun.
It has been fun.
Like,